Hello, I'm Jeff Phillips, and thank you for tuning into this week's webisode. Today's guest I think you're going to really enjoy, especially if you live here in Chatham County. Today we have Christine, and Christine, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, why don't you explain to the viewers what it is that you do?
My name is Christine Miller, and I am the owner of Pittsboro Feed. We are on 1103 East Street in North Carolina in Pittsboro. I own the feed store there. We sell cat, dog, chicken. We say that we can feed anything from ants to elephants, so we're good to go. We can take care of all your needs.
Okay. Well, I want to focus on raising chickens.
Absolutely.
Okay? So can you explain what myself or a viewer may need to do to kind of get started?
You know, it's easier than what a lot of people think. It doesn't require a lot of cost. I would say that the average cost for starting out with chickens is probably about $60 to $80, depending on how many chickens you want. There's feeders and waters and heat lamps and a lot of things that go into it, but not a lot of high cost. A lot of stuff you can reuse, repurpose at a later time. So depending on how many chickens you need, I would say you probably would have $45 in equipment, and then the rest is the quantity of chickens you wanted, which average about $3.50 a bird.
No, okay, that's not bad.
It's not terribly expensive.
Okay, so how many chickens would I say a family of three, or how do you determine how many chickens a family should need?
Absolutely. A family of three, it depends on how many eggs you, of course, go through. If you're a huge baking family, then you would want more chickens. But a family of three would probably get by with 5 chickens. A chicken reproduces an egg about every day or every other day. So, you know, when you do the math, that's a lot of eggs after a while. You know, and then you start giving away at church or someplace else. So to maintain just for your family and to keep costs down, I would say 5.
Okay, right. And at what time or what age should someone purchase the birds? I mean, are they babies? Are they full grown?
Right. It's always a fun question to answer. Our chickens come in through the mail, and a lot of people don't know that they come through the mail. When a baby chick is born, it can survive 3 to 4 days from the yolk that's inside the eggshell. By doing that, that's when they ship them to us. Ours come from a certified hatchery, which I highly recommend that people get all their chickens from a certified hatchery. They come from them, and we get them about, they're hatched, put in the box, shipped to us. We get them either the first day or the second day after they are hatched. So when they are in our store, at the most, they're probably about 3 days of age. And at that point, they're also getting food and water.
Okay, so we would purchase them at that point. Is there anything special we need to do as they're babies, or do we throw them right into the hen house?
Oh, no, I wish we could do that. That would make a lot of people happy. No, you have to keep them under a heat lamp, and they have to have 95-degree heat on them, kind of like just putting the lamp on them. And it's a 250-watt bulb that usually goes on them. And then every week it drops 5 degrees. So the first week is 95, the next one's 90, then 85, so forth and so on, until it gets warm enough, and then we can put them outside.
Okay. Now, can we arrange for you to keep them until they are ready to go outside?
Well, we typically don't do that. But we do have a gentleman that raises some, and he sells those birds, and they're 10 weeks of age, and they go for a little bit more money. But at that point, you don't have to mess with the heat lamp anymore. You can literally just put those chickens in your chicken coop.
Okay, great. So what does someone need to do regarding housing? I mean, I know, and the chicken coop. I mean, you talked about recycling and
Right.
reusing things.
Right.
Can you explain to the viewers some ideas?
Housing is so much fun. I think this is my favorite part. There are so many things that you can do. I'm a huge fan of recycling. There's Habitat for Humanity. There's Craigslist. I've recommended for people to do play structures, where you take the top portion and you make that the hen house. The lower portion, you fence all that in where the sandbox used to be. You fence all that in, and then that then becomes their little run area. There's little A-frames. There could be outhouses. Some people have old outhouses on their property. Those are all great ideas and inexpensive.
Okay. Now, I always wonder what differentiates the color of an egg.
Right. That all comes down to breed. And a chicken, there are different ones. So a lot of our customers right now, they want a multicolored flock, or they want multicolored dozens of eggs. So like if I were to give you a dozen eggs, instead of having all white ones or all brown ones, they like to have a green one, they like to have a dark brown one, they like to have a terracotta one. By accomplishing that feat, which is very popular right now, you have to have different breeds. So the Americana, which is a very popular one, lays either a green, a blue, or a pink egg, typically green. And then we have the Kookaburra, which lays the dark brown egg, and then the Welsummer that lays the terracotta egg. All of those people love the mixed colored dozen eggs that they give out to friends and family.
Well, it's very colorful. It's probably very
It is fun.
eye-pleasing, yes. So how soon before a chicken actually starts laying an egg?
Right. That's 16 to 18 weeks is when you're going to start noticing something's happening. They're going to start possibly laying eggs. It does get more heavily into it between 18 and 22 weeks of age, and it depends on the breed. Some breeds are notorious for laying earlier, some are notorious for laying later. So if you wanted to really produce eggs, and didn't care about the color and just, wanted production, you would choose a certain breed that's going to lay quicker, maybe an Isa Brown or something. But if you want that color and you want the, maybe a black and white chicken in your flock and you want a brown chicken in your flock, you want some variety out there. They won't lay consistently at 22 weeks of age. You might get one at 18, you might get one at 20, you might get one at 24. That's going to lay, but it's going to be about in that time frame.
Okay, and they're edible from the very first
Absolutely.
egg? Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. And there are many treats and everything that you can give them. It really becomes a family affair. People love their chickens.
Okay. Well, what about, obviously the big thing with chickens is, free range.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a benefit to just letting them roam your yard versus keep them in a fenced area?
Yeah. If you can let them roam around, it's great. The only thing is you have predator issues. By letting them roam around, you get a richer yellow, a deeper yellow, almost an orangey yolk, versus when you go to the grocery store, because those are caged birds, you get more of that pale yellow yolk. So by letting them run free range or having the grass and the bugs and everything else to eat, that's where you get that deep color. You can have them caged in a situation to where, like, it's a stationary coop, but if you have some sort of wiring or netting that you can move around and let them roam around in that, so you can get them onto fresh grass every once in a while. That works really well. And they will go back in their nesting box every night.
Okay, so it's not like I have to shoo them in
No.
and chase them
No,
in?
they're like little clocks. I mean, you can go out there, it's typically about dusk, and you can just go out there, they'll start perching, and they just sit there. They'll just perch for the night.
Okay. Now, what do we need to do in order to protect the chickens from varmints?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest problem that most people that raise chicks encounter. Keeping a top on top of your chicken run, locking them in at night, having, netting, extra heavy netting around the base so you don't have, skunks or raccoons trying to break in at night. So you have the lower animals and you have the upper animals that you have to be concerned about.
Yeah,
and the neighborhood dogs, too. Let's not forget about neighborhood dogs.
Right. Now, I thought I remember seeing somewhere that, you actually bury the fence in the ground a little bit at the bottom?
Yeah, some people do, because you have to remember a raccoon or somebody is going to really kind of scratch at that dirt to try to get through, but he won't be able to do that because at that point you'll have that netting in the ground.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Now, why do you think it's becoming so popular to raise chickens when it's just as easy to run to the supermarket and pick up a dozen eggs?
There are so many things that are beneficial. Health benefits, you know what you're feeding your chickens. I just read an article somewhere that the amount of composting that a chicken does is phenomenal. So you take your scraps, you throw them out, they make manure, you throw that in your garden. It's just a complete circle that you're doing there. The other thing is responsibility for children. There are so many children out there that right now that don't have any serious amount of responsibility. This is one extra little chore that they can do to help the family out.
Very good. Well, if people are interested in maybe learning more about you, coming and getting some feed from your store, where can they go?
Yeah, they can certainly go on our website, which is just pittsborofeed.com, and they can get directions to our store. You can certainly call at any time, and we can answer any questions. We are all very experienced. We've all raised chickens. We all know what we're doing.
Very good. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Hopefully
Thank
you, the
you.
viewer, got a lot of good tips and advice. And feel free to contact Christine if you would like more information to start raising some chickens. So, thanks a lot for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
All right.